I used to play Fallout 3 with a ton of mods and stuff. What is the best ending for New Vegas? Ooh, so, you know, it's interesting you asked that question because that is a huge debate. That is actually a huge debate in the community of like, what is the best ending for New Vegas? Because, you know, most people can agree the Caesar's Legion ending is not a good one, right? Because, you know, slavery and, well, the fact, oops, I came back here. The fact of, like, slavery and then misogynists and all this other stuff, there's reasons not to like Caesar's Legion. The NCR is weird because they try to show themselves as a, like, new democratic kind of like organization, but at the same time they have a lot of corruption and a lot of like shortcomings that make them very suspicious to be like a leader. Like the NCR basically wears themselves thin. It's kind of like the Roman Empire in their heydays. They have like a huge amount of land, but not a lot of people to guard that land. So they're kind of like spread out super thin. And so even if they took over New Vegas, that doesn't mean they would be able to hold it necessarily, right? And then the independent ending, a lot of people agree that that's like a good ending, but in my opinion, it's not, just because like there needs to be some form of rule. Otherwise, it's just going to devolve into chaos eventually, right? Like maybe not right away, but it's definitely not going to be very like positive in the future, right? So honestly, it's either a debate between independent and just have it be good in the beginning and then, you know, like stuff goes to shit later on, or the Mr. House ending. And I know a lot of people don't like Mr. House, right? A lot of people do not like Mr. House, and they think, okay, you know, this guy is obviously, he's essentially a dictator, right? Because, you know, he can just control everything from, you know, behind the scenes without even having to get his hands dirty. He's got the protectrons and everything like that. So, you know, you can kind of see he's like a dictator, but at the same time, he is probably the most likely to make New Vegas be like a long-term settlement, right? Because basically, right, Mr. House already saved New Vegas from a nuke, right? When the bombs dropped, he freaking saved New Vegas from a nuke, and he's done like all this shit to protect it. So I don't think he would suddenly just throw away everything he's worked towards just to be evil at some point, right? To potentially destroy New Vegas. And then also, he is very certain that I think when you talk to him, he gives this speech where he's like, if I have control over all of New Vegas within like 50 years or something, he said within 50 years we'll be sending rockets up into space, and within 100 years we'll be going to a different planet, essentially, right? And he's like really certain of this, but you can kind of believe him because he's basically a fucking supercomputer with control of all these, you know, robots and shit that you help him upgrade with the platinum chip. So I mean, like, honestly, it's either the independent ending or the Mr. House ending, in my opinion. Those are like the only two that are the best. It just kind of depends on what ending if you're going that you're going for. You know, if you want to go for the independent New Vegas, then yeah, definitely you would kill Mr. House for that. I think I have killed him more times than not. Just because the independent ending, in my opinion, is pretty fun. Just because you are encouraged to explore way more before you make choices. But I don't know. It's either, I think the only ending, in my opinion, that's not worth going for and like doing is honestly Caesar's Legion, and it has nothing to do with like how bad of a like people they are. It's to do with the fact that they just didn't get a whole lot of development. Like, if you play through all of Fallout New Vegas, every ending feels fleshed out except for Caesar's Legion. Caesar's Legion kind of feels like the writing team had a giant plan for it and then never could, like, fulfill that plan, right? Which is probably true. Remember, they only had 18 months to develop the game. So I'm sure they couldn't actually do what they wanted to do. So unfortunately, the Caesar route is kind of short and not very fun